Hello friends and welcome to Time Classes. Today's topic is bar charts in data interpretation, and the handout that we will be using is DIHO 3531902. I'm sure that you have this handout along with you, and even if you don't, it's perfectly all right because I'll be posting each question on the slide. In order to get the most out of these lectures and these classes, I suggest that you keep a rough copy on the side for some quick calculations and also a fair notebook to take down notes as we discuss things in the slides. One very important thing for any topic in data interpretation is that you spend the initial part in understanding what is the data. If you have understood the data correctly, then the answering of the questions will be faster. Whereas if you don't read it very carefully, then when you go to the question, then you come back to the data, then you go to the question again back to the data, and the understanding remains incomplete for the duration of answering the question. So on that note, let's begin today's lecture. So let's understand the question. You are given the production and consumption of sugar in million quintals in a country. So the production and consumption in particular years is given. The y-axis is the value in million quintals and the x-axis is the year. The left-hand side bar is the production, the right-hand side bar is the consumption. You are also given that if the production is more than consumption, then the surplus is exported. This is common sense. And if the production is less than the consumption, then the deficit will be imported. Obviously, if you are consuming more than you are producing, then you need to import. So you can see that in 2011, you have to import because consumption is more. 2012 you will export because production is more. In 2013 you will export. In 2014 you will import. 15 you will export. 16 you will import, and 17 you will import because consumption is more than production. With this understanding of this data, please solve this question. Take 30 seconds. A little calculation intensive question. Okay, let's solve. So during which year is the percentage rise or fall in production over the previous year the lowest? So you need to compare two consecutive years and see what was the rise or fall in production. That means 2012 should be compared with the previous year, that's 2011. So let's compare. Production in 2011 is 400 units and in 2012 it becomes 500 units. So 400 increases to 500. So what is the percentage change? 500 minus 400 divided by 400. Percentage change is 400 to 500. That's 500 minus 400 divided by 400 into 100. That's 25%. So this you got for 2012. And the thing to note over here is that you don't need to do this for every year. You only need to do it for the ones in the options. 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, and 15, 16, and not the others. But I will still show the calculation for all of the others so that you are able to understand what we are doing. Okay, now let's go to 2012-13. In 12-13, production is 500. Sorry, in 2012, production is 500. In 2013, the production is 550. So 500 goes to 550. So that means the change is 550 minus 500. 50 units divided by 500 into 100, that is 10%. Next, let's look at question C option, that is 13-14. So you get 550 drops to 450. So the change is 100 units on 550 units. That is 10 by 55. That is 2 by 11. And I know that 1 by 11 is 9.09%. 1 by 11 as a fraction is 9.09%. So 2 by 11 becomes 2 into 9.09, that is 18.18%. So you see that since the numerator is very large, even though the denominator is quite large, the percentage value is large. Now let's look at the remaining cases. 2014 to 15, 450 goes to 650. I already know this cannot be the lowest because 450 to 650, the change is too large, that is 200. Then let's go to option number D directly because that's the only option left. So 15 to 16 is a drop of 650 to 500. So 650 to 500 is a drop of 150 units on 650. 150 by 650 into 100 gives you approximately 23%. So from my answer options, I can see that 2013 is the best case. I also wanted to tell you that the chances of 2013 being the right answer were the largest, were the most, because its numerator was the smallest. So when you are very confident or you have a greater understanding of what is happening in the question, then within option number B itself, I could have said that this will probably be the minimum without really completely calculating the cases for option C and D. So the answer is going to be option number B. Please write this down. So this was a little calculation intensive, and the question was also slightly medium level question. Okay, let's move to the next question. Again, please read carefully. Imports in 2017 form what percentage of that in 2011? Okay, this is an easy question. Okay, let's begin. 2017, what are the imports? 650 minus 400, that's 250. And in 2011, 500 minus 400, that's 100. So 250 is what percentage of 100? 250 by 100 into 100 is 250%. Imports form what percentage of that in 2011? 250 is what percentage of 100? 250 by 100 into 100. That is 250%. Very easy, straightforward question. If you are able to understand what you need to do. Okay, let's move to the next question. What is the difference between the total exports and the total imports during the given period? So I explained at the beginning of this question where there is an import, where there is an export. So simply find out the cases, where is import, export, and how much, and what is the difference between them. Please calculate. Okay, let's solve. So when production is more than consumption, then the surplus is exported. That means if the left bar is more than the right bar, then there's an export. So let's begin. Left bar more than right bar, 50 units. Left more than right, 100 units. Left more than right, 100 units. And that's all. So you get the exports as, oh, I've given the imports first. So let's look at the imports. When the left bar is less than the right bar, then you get the imports. So you have 100 units here, and then you have 150 units here, and then you have 100 units here, and 250 units here. So I get 100, 150, 100, 250, that is 600 units of imports. And then we already calculated the exports as 50, 100, 100. So 50, 100, 100, the exports is 250. And the question is asking, find difference. So 600 minus 250 is 350. And the answer is option number C. The answer is option number C. Please write this down. Again, a very straightforward question. And let's move to the next question. Tough one. What is the simple annual growth rate in consumption from 2011 to 2017? Annual growth rate in consumption. First find out the growth, then think about growth rate. Okay, let's solve. 2011 to 17, consumption goes from 500 to 650. So what is the growth? 150 units. And on what is the base? 150 is an increment with what base? That is 500. There's an increment of 500 in 2017 when compared to 2011. So 150 upon 500 into 100 is 30%. So the total growth rate is from 500 to 650. The total growth rate is 30%, but you want the annual growth rate. And growth rate is measured from year to year. See, there is no growth in a particular year. The growth is between particular years. So which are your intervals? Which are the 6 growth changes? Are you understanding what I am saying? Growth is not in a particular year. It is in the intervals. It is 2011 to 12. What is the growth? 12 to 13. What is the change? 13 to 14. What is the change? So how many such intervals do you have? You must write this in your copy. 2011 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, 15 to 16, 16 to 17. So 30% is the increment in 6 growth changes. So 30% divided by 6 should give you 5%, and that is the answer. Please write this down and I will explain it again. What is the growth? First we find out the growth, then we want the growth rate, and then we want the annual growth rate. Please write this also in your copy. Step 1, growth. Step 2, growth rate. Step 3, annual growth rate. So what is the growth? 500 to 650. So the growth is 150. What is the growth rate? 150 on a base of 500. So the growth rate is 150 upon 500 into 100. That's 30%. And what is the annual growth rate? 30% in 6 intervals. So 30% by 6 is 5%. Okay, let's move to the last question in this set. For which year is the ratio between production and consumption the lowest? Please try this. Okay, let's begin. So in 2011, what is the ratio of production and consumption? 400 by 500, that's 4 by 5, that's 0.8. Okay. So what do you have to check? Production and consumption in 4 particular years. In 2011, it's 0.8. In 2014, you have 450 by 600. So you cancel out the zeros, and 45 by 60 is 3 by 4, 0.75. Right? In 2016, you have 500 by 600. That's still very close to 1. So that also could not be the lowest. And then you have 2017, that's 400 by 750. Oh, sorry, 400 by 650. Right? So 400 by 650 is approximately 0.61. So I'm sure that without even calculating till 0.61, you can see that the numerator is very large in options B and D, but the denominator is larger for option D, and that has more impact. So 450 by 600 is also small, but 400 by 650 is smaller, because you see that the numerator is smaller and the denominator is larger. So in fact, without doing any calculations, you would be able to solve this question and get it as option number D. You would check between B and D, and between B and D without solving, you can see that in option number D, numerator is smaller and denominator is larger. So you get option number D. Of course, these numbers are very, very simple, but the technique that I mentioned might be more useful when you have some tougher or more complex calculations. For example, if you were comparing 449 divided by 601 versus 399 divided by 659, then you cannot sit and calculate all of these values. So then you see that numerator is smaller, denominator is larger. So the answer should be option number D. Let's move to the next question. Once again, first understand the data and then start solving the question. First, look at the data. What is given to you? You are given a bar graph with the percentage of girls and boys who passed out of the total number of girls and boys that appeared for the exam from 2013 to 2016. Study the graph carefully and answer the questions. Okay. So in 2013, out of 100% girls, 24% girls passed. And out of 100% boys, 40% boys passed. In 2015, for example, out of the total number of girls, 30% girls passed. Out of the total number of boys, 50% boys passed. So, but what you do not have is the total number of students or the number of boys and the number of girls. You only have percentages. So let's try to solve these questions. Please solve question 16. Take 30 seconds. Done? Okay, let's solve. So you have 1800 students divided in the ratio 3:1. Boys is to girls is 3:1. So total 4 parts corresponds to 1800. So 1 part corresponds to 450. So that means 3 parts becomes 3 into 450, that's 1350. So you get 1350 boys and 450 girls. Okay. Now your past percentage is total number of students who passed divided by total number of students who appeared. Number of students who appeared is given as 1800, of which 1250, 450, 1350. 1350 are boys and 450 are girls. Let's reverse this. 450 are girls and 1350 are boys in 2015. Okay. So out of the boys of 1350 in 2015, 50% passed. So 50% of 1350 becomes 675. Yes. And for the girls, 30% of 450. 30% of 450 is 45 into 3, 135. So we have the number of boys who passed and the number of girls who passed. So we have the total number that passed. Now just add them up. 675 plus 135 divided by 1800 into 100 and you get 45%. Please write this down. We have some ratios and from that we get the total number of boys and the total number of girls. We have the percentage of each that passed. 50% of the boys passed, 30% of the girls passed. So we get the number of boys who passed and the number of girls who passed. And so we get the required percentage. Total passed divided by total students into 100. Did we need to know the total number of students? If 1800 was not given in this question, could we have solved this question? Yes, we could have. So it's a ratio 3:1. So let's say that number of boys was 300, number of girls was 100. Okay. Now let me invert this. Number of girls was 100, boys was 300. Okay. Girls 100, boys 300. 30% of the girls passed. That means 30 girls passed. 30% of 100 is 30. And 50% of the boys passed. 50% of 300, that's 150. That means 30 passed and 150 passed. 180 passed. 180 passed out of 400. That is what you have assumed. So 180 divided by 400 into 100. That's 180 divided by 4. That's 45%. I want you to write this in your copy as method number 2. Let the number of boys and girls be 300 and 100 respectively. Let the number of boys and girls be 300 and 100 respectively. Girls passed equal to 30% of 100 equal to 30. Boys passed equal to 50% of 300 equal to 150. Implies pass percentage equal to 150 plus 30 divided by 400 into 100 equal to 45%. And below this, you can write down your conclusion that we could have solved without knowing total number of students, or we are able to solve this question without knowing total number of students. This is important because the total number of students unnecessarily complicates your calculation. 300 and 100 are much more friendly values than 1350 and 450. There is no doubt about that. And so by taking 300 and 100, we are able to solve the question much more quickly than by taking the total number of students that is given in the question. I hope you wrote down both of the solutions. Let's move to the next question. What is the percentage increase in the number of girls who passed the exam from 2013 to 2015, given that the total number of girls who appeared for the exam decreased by 10%? Please take 30 seconds to solve. The point that we made in the previous question is now relevant over here. So let the girls in 2013 be 100. So in 2015, the girls reduces by 10% and becomes 90. Girls is 100, becomes 90. Now in 2013, how many girls passed? 20%, 24% of 100 are the girls who passed, that's 24. And in 2015, how many girls passed? 30% of 90. 30% of 90, what is 10% of 90? 9. What is 30% of 90? 9 into 3, 27. So in 2013, 24 girls passed. In 2015, 27 girls passed. And the question is asking, what is the percentage increase in the number of girls? So you get 27 minus 24 divided by 24 into 100. That's 3 by 24, 1 by 8. That's 12.5%. So the value was not given. I assumed it and I was able to solve this question. I hope this is all right. Let's move to the next question. The number of boys who appeared for the exam went up by 20% from 2014 to 2016. What is the percentage increase in the number of students who passed? I'm sorry, what is the percentage increase in the number of boys who passed? Very similar to the previous question. Very, very similar. Percentage change in the number of boys is given. Find the percentage increase in the boys who passed. Please solve. Okay, let's solve. So let the number of boys in 2014 be 100. So in 2016, the boys becomes 120 because it's a 20% increase. Now, in 2014, the boys is 48% of 100, that's 48. And in 2016, the boys is 60% of 120, that's 72. Now, how did I get that so quickly? Can I write 60% as 50% plus 10%. What is 50% of 120? 60. What is 10% of 120? 12. 60 plus 12, 72. So 48 is increasing to 72. Find the percentage change. 72 minus 48 divided by 48. Clearly, this is a typing error. So 72 minus 48 divided by 48 into 100 is 50%. 50% should be your answer. Let's move to the next question. Ratio of boys and girls in 2015 who appeared for the exam in 2015 is 3:1. And in 2016 it is 5:2. Find the percentage increase from 15 to 16 in the total number of students who passed. Please solve this. Have you been able to spot it? In the last two questions, you were given the percentage change from year to year. But over here, ratios are given, but the percentage change in the number of students is not given. So you cannot find out how many students passed in a particular year. Did you get this? Since the percentage change in the number of students is not given, just the ratios is given. Therefore, the number of students who passed cannot be determined. The increase or decrease in the number of boys and girls, that is total, is not given. So required percentage increase cannot be found. This is directly coming from the last two questions, what we observed in the last two questions. So the answer is cannot be determined. Let's move to the next question. In the above problem, what is the percentage change in the number of students who failed over the same period? Please solve. Okay. Do you see that we only know the percentage of boys and girls who passed, but we don't know the total. So we don't know the total number of students here, and we don't know the total number of students here. So when we don't know the total, we cannot find out the total who passed. So we cannot find out the total who failed. So we cannot find out the percentage change. So the answer is cannot be determined. The increase or decrease in the total students is not given. At least the relationship between the two ratios is not given, and hence we cannot find the percentage change in the number of students who fail. I'll just repeat. Total students is not given. Percentage change in the students is not given. So you don't have the total students in a particular year. So you cannot find out the number of students who passed. So you cannot find out the number of students who failed. So you cannot find out the percentage change. Cannot be determined is your answer. Okay, let's move to the last and final set. First, we understand the data. This will be the most difficult question for today. Set, it's also the last set. So I suggest that you just sit properly, buck up, back straight, focus. You are given the literacy rates in different states. You are given the number of females who are literate, the number of males who are literate, and the total number of people who are literate as a percentage. So 55% of the women in AP are literate, 69% of the men in AP are literate, and 61% of the total people in AP are literate. And how do we find the literacy rate in a particular state? Number of literates divided by total population into 100. The into 100 part is missing. This is a fraction. Into 100 gives you the percentage value. Now, you are also given the total number of people in any particular state. And so you can find out all of these values. You can find out the number of males, the number of females, the literate males, literate females in any particular state. And we will see how and why and if that is required. So let's look at the first question. What is the ratio of the number of females to the number of males for the select districts in the state of Tamil Nadu? In Tamil Nadu, find out the ratio of number of females to number of males. Please take 30 seconds to solve this question. Sure. Let the number of females be X, number of males be Y for Tamil Nadu. So can I say that total number of literates will be the same? Males plus females equal to total literates. Okay. So females be X, males be Y. Now, 61% of X is the female literates plus 79%. See, this is 79 plus 79% of Y should be equal to total literates. What is total literates? 73% of total population. We are assuming that everyone is a male or a female. So 61% of X plus 79% of Y is equal to 73% of X plus Y. And what do we need to find out? Ratio of females to males. So we need to find out X by Y. That's so you get 61X plus 79Y equal to 73X plus 73Y. So you get 6Y equal to 12X. That means X by Y is 1 by 2. So the ratio is 1:2. I want you to look at this part very carefully because this is how the other questions also in this question may need to be solved. You can always find out the ratio of males to females is to males. For any state, you can find out the ratio of females to males and you are given the total number of people. So you can find out the exact number of females to males in any state. And you can therefore find out the number of literate females, the number of literate males, the number of illiterate females, the number of illiterate males. Everything is given. And all we need to see is, do we need to calculate the absolute values or not? Like in this question, you did not need to calculate the absolute values because you just needed a ratio. Okay, so I'll just repeat this. Number of literate females plus number of literate males is equal to total literate population. That's 73% of X plus Y. Solve to get X by Y equal to 1:2. Let's continue to the next question. Now read carefully. Population of UP is less than total population of other four states by how much? Very straightforward question. So there's nothing, no challenge or contribution in this question. So I will solve this. What is the population of UP? 160. What is the population of the remaining states? 216 plus 186 plus 154 plus 175. That is 731. Population of other states is, please write this in your copy, 731 equal to 216 plus 186 plus 154 plus 175. And the question is asking UP is how much less than remaining. That means 160 is how much less than 731. So 731 minus 160 divided by 731. And into 100 gives you the percentage value as 78%. I'll also tell you how to do this orally. What is 731 minus 160? Or basically, how much is the decrease? The decrease is 160 out of 731. Now, what is 10% of 731? 73. 20% is 146. But you want to decrease 160. So can I say that 20% is 146? You want to decrease 160. Can I say that little more than 20% has to be decreased? 20% is 146 and 160 is going to be slightly more than 20%. So what do you have to find out? 100% minus a value slightly more than 20%. The only possible answer is option number A. So without having to use calculator or any other mental calculations, I was able to solve this question. 100% minus a value slightly more than 20%. That is, option A is the only possible answer choice. Please write this down. And let's proceed. Please solve this question. What is the total number of literate males and literate females for the select districts in the state of UP? Now, exact value has been asked for UP. Please solve. You have to use the concept from question 21. Okay, let's solve. So in UP, let the number of females be X and the males be Y. So 48%, I'm sorry, we don't need to go in that direction. We don't need to find out the individual ratios of X and Y and then calculate. We are already given the combined literacy rate for total males and females. That's 57%. So 57% of 160 lakhs, that is the total population, is 191.2 lakhs. So reading the question carefully would have been helpful here. It does not want separately literate males and literate females. If the question were find separately literate males and literate females, then you have to use the concept from question 21. From question 21, 48% of x plus 68% of y equal to 57% of x plus y. You get ratio of x's to y. The total is 160, and then you get the values of x and y. That would be the way to solve. But over here, you simply want total. Total is 57%. 57% of 160 is 91.2 lakhs. Single line solution. Let's move to the next question. In which of the following states is the number of literate persons highest? Please solve. Okay, let's solve. So number of literate persons is given by, as a percentage is given by the third bar. So if I check for UP, number of literate persons is 57% of 160. Okay. And for MP, it would be 64% of 216. For TN, it would be 73% of 186. And for HP, it would be 72% of 154. Okay. So one thing that I can see is that 72% of 154. See, 154 is much smaller than 216. So even though you are comparing 72% versus 64%, I can be fairly sure that MP is going to be larger. So now what you are comparing is MP and TN. I have to compare 64% of 216 with 73% of 186. And I would probably suggest that you calculate and see. 64% of 216 versus 73% of 186. Because the values are closer. The totals are also closer and the percentage values are also closer. So although in a way I can observe as well that MP would be the highest, but I would actually suggest that you compare. Compare what? 64% of 216 versus 73% of 186. Calculate and see. And then you will see that option D is the answer. But what I would certainly like to see here is that at least HP versus MP could have been compared using just observation without calculating. That 154 is much less than 216. So 72% of 154 will definitely be less than 64% of 216. Please write all of this down. And let's move to the last question. What is the number of males for the select districts in the state of MP? Please take 30 seconds. This is what I was actually referring to in the last to last question. if separately the males or females might be asked. Then what should you do? Okay, let's solve. So let the number of females be X and males be Y for the state of MP. So we are over here, 60% of X plus 68% of Y should be equal to 64% of X plus Y. So you solve this to get X equal to Y. See, you will get 60X and 64X, so 4X, and 68Y and 64Y. So 4X equal to 4Y implies X equal to Y. That means the number of males would be half of 216, that is 108 lakhs. So finally, what I was trying to say in the question 23 has actually come out. So question 21 was a basic understanding of this question, and in question 25 it has all come together to tell you how this kind of question could have been solved. I hope it was all okay for you today. In case you had some doubts or things you did not understand, there's a chat option where you can put in your queries and we will get back to you in the next 24 to 48 hours. Thank you for your time and attention.